Welcome back to this episode of By the Wayside. On today's episode, I'm at the Toronto Comic Con here in Toronto, Ontario, at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Welcome back to this episode. Of course, I'm not in my typical location, which of course is Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario. Today, I'm at the Metro Toronto Convention Center in Toronto, Ontario. You can always tell that I'm Canadian because I say Toronto with the CH and not the T. I also realized that I wasn't looking at the camera. That's fine because I'm going to keep rolling because there's so much happening behind me. And one of the things about recording a show on location somewhere is that you have to be cognizant of everybody and everything that's around you. So if I was looking over here for the first start of this segment, I'm now looking over here. So now I'm looking at the proper camera. That's what it's like here on By the Wayside. Sometimes I make mistakes, sometimes I don't. I also never stop recording. That's the beauty of the show. Unfiltered, unedited. No, it's got to be filtered because swearing like a sailor is not good for anybody, especially when kids are watching. And I'm pretty sure here at the Metro Toronto Convention Center at the Toronto Comic Con, there are tons of kids. When you're walking through the floor here, I think it's the main floor, lots and lots of cosplayers. There's some passing by me here. We'll get to them in a second. Because I wanted to talk about the Toronto Comic Convention. And I wrote this down directly from their website so that I didn't mess up. Because we all know I'm prone to messing up at some point during a segment. It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't mess up. The importance of conventions like this is directly from their website. is everyone is a fan of something, and the Toronto Comic Con is the place to celebrate all things pop culture. Now, pop culture, the dictionary definition, I think, of pop culture is something that is popular in today's culture. So I think it spans like a 20-year period. I could be wrong there. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a wayside, one of my wayside facts popping up to explain or to let you know that I was wrong and that pop culture, there is a definition of pop culture that I got right. All right, so stick around. We're going to be talking to a bunch of creators to get their idea on what is important to them, their favorite IPs, intellectual properties for those. And yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this episode of By the Wayside. I have with me Allison. Allison, thank you again for joining me. Cosplay is a huge community, as I've talked about on the show in the past, and I've talked about today specifically. Lots of cosplay here at the Toronto Comic Con. My favorite question of the day today is, we'll get to what you're dressed as and why you dressed as them, but what's your favorite IP? What's your favorite pop culture right now?
DC Comics in general, but I'm loving Zatanna, obviously. I feel like she doesn't get enough attention, and starting last year, she's had a new series, and now she's having another 5-issue series going on right now, so I'm really enjoying that.
There's a huge resurgence of Zatanna, because I've also heard that there's a possibility of her being cast in the new
Yes.
new DCEU. Is that what that? It's not.
DC, I've heard DCEU. I'm not.
The James Gunn movies.
Yes.
it's the best way. Okay, well then that answers my next question.
Yes.
My next question is who are you dressed as?
Yes. Zatanna Zatara. She is a sorceress from DC Comics.
Okay.
But she started out in stage magic. So that's why I go for the very classic stage magic feel. So this cane actually floats and appears to dance through the air. So I like to incorporate as many magic tricks as I can with the character to make her stand out and be different from other cosplayers.
The one question that I know that everyone's asked you, I'm going to ask you anyway because I'm really curious, is how long did it take you to put this together?
The costume itself, I've kind of started out, I actually did it really quickly. I think within 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh.
And then over the years, I've kind of incorporated more tricks, a better top hat. So I've kind of improved pieces here and there. And you know, I'm always looking to improve it in any way possible because this is kind of my one cosplay that I always do, and then I change up the other ones.
Well, thanks again, Allison. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you
look
so much.
Amazing, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So much cosplay that's happening here at the Toronto Comic Con in Toronto. Of course, it's called the Toronto Comic Con. I have two amazing gentlemen here dressed up in one of my favorite IPs. I don't know if you've heard of it, Star Trek. I'm going to ask you two gentlemen. We're going to start with Greg, of course. Your favorite IP. Now, some people's IP that changes over time. You've come as a Star Trek character.
I have.
But what's your favorite IP right now?
Right now, you know, growing up, Star Wars, Marvel, but soft spot for Stargate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And Aldous, that was your name. I didn't even double check. I didn't even double check the pronunciation of your name. I'm so sorry. That's the running joke on my show, is I pronounce names wrong. So I'm glad that I got your name right on the first try, Aldous. I really appreciate it. Your favorite IP, my friend?
I'm more into anime right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite anime?
Well, Freerun, Beyond Journey's End, Apothecary Diaries.
Oh, awesome. Just a fan all around.
It's fairly diverse.
Yes.
And so it's just it's a different perspective from the standard North American.
So then we'll get right into the cosplay questions because that's what we're here for, the cosplay questions. Greg.
Yes.
Who are you wearing?
Commander Riker.
All right, okay.
The version from the later movies.
Yes, of course. Do you have a favorite Riker moment? Oh, I should be doing this. I keep forgetting about the microphone. Do you have a favorite Riker moment?
Pretty much any time he has to sit in a chair, you know?
Yes. Yeah, the real Riker maneuver.
Exactly.
Yes, 100%. Who are you wearing?
I'm the EMH from Star Trek Voyager.
One of my favorite actors, Robert Picardo. So I'm on board with this 1,000%. My favorite Star Trek character is Riker. one of my favorite actors is Robert Picardo.
Oh, excellent.
So this really worked out really well. I couldn't have asked for a better Saturday, gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking the time and speaking with me. I really appreciate it, guys. We got lots of cosplayers to talk about, so don't go anywhere. Crystal, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me while we're here at the Toronto Comic Con. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Now, what's your favorite IP? What's your favorite part of pop culture? What is it right now? Everyone has one. Sometimes it waxes, it wanes. What's yours right now?
I actually am obsessed with Fallout.
Fallout?
Yes. Curveball for you.
That's something else. Now, is it the game or is it the show?
Game.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I've been gaming since like 2008.
That's a long time. That's like 16 years. Now, I only know it's 16 years because I did the math this morning for an interview I'm going to try and do later because they started comic books in 2008.
There you go.
So I'm not that brilliant. I just remember that one fact. You obviously love cosplay. You're obviously really good at it.
Oh, thank you.
Who are you wearing?
This is my own made-up thing where it's the Scarlet Witch, but in the Renaissance.
So it's almost like the 1602.
But I did it first.
Oh, okay.
I did.
All right. Okay. I don't disagree with you. I'll believe you on that.
It's documented.
There's no fact checking on this show.
No, but it's documented.
And if there is, I'm in a lot of trouble. This is really gorgeous.
Thank
It's
you.
really beautiful. Is it tough to move around in? Like here, I could see there's a lot of space here at the Toronto Comic Con. But at home, is there a lot of space to maneuver around? Are you bumping into side tables? Are you knocking over kids?
Well, I'm with two friends, and they wanted to go to Artist Alley, and I'm like, I'll go downstairs for a bit.
Crystal, is it? How long did it take you to build this? I know everyone asks that question, but how long?
I want to say
Gotta
like
be a long time.
months.
The gears are turning in there.
Like months.
Yeah?
Because I only get about 2 hours a day to make anything. I'm a mom, and I work full time, so I only get
it's busy, right?
2 hours a day.
There must be a lot of planning, sewing. The headpiece is amazing.
Thank
what
you.
an original design, too.
Thank you.
Now, how long did it take you to do the headpiece alone? Can you calculate
Not long.
that?
It's like a piece of foam, like a thick piece of craft foam from like Michaels. And then I took the same fabric from the dress, glued it on. I just took the style of like a French hood,
Yes.
in a sense, and then
Really original. I really like
Thank
this.
you.
This whole piece is one of the most original I've seen today.
thank you.
No
Wow.
problem, Crystal. Crystal,
you.
thank you for taking the time to speak with me here
Yeah,
while we're
no
at
worries.
the Toronto Comic Convention.
Thank you.
Toronto Comic Con?
Toronto Comic Con.
Toronto Comic Con. Thanks again, Crystal. I appreciate it. Stick around. We got lots more in this episode. Don't go anywhere.
Have you heard of the Canadian Podcast Awards? Well, you're watching this. Now you have. There's no if, ands, or buts, no two ways about it. You have now definitely heard of the Canadian Podcast Awards. When I was at the Toronto Comic Con over the past little bit there, you've been watching this whole episode, so you know that I've been there. I had the opportunity to talk to the Director of Podcast Relations, Jennifer Langtree, and ask her all about them.
Jennifer, what are the Canadian Podcast Awards?
The Canadian Podcast Awards are an industry-based award for Canadian podcasters.
Jennifer, why are these awards important?
The awards are so important because it's there to uplift the community as well as Canadian content. It's hard to get your voices heard with everything that's happening in the South. So we like to uplift Canadian content and make sure that there's a platform for Canadian podcasters.
Quick question that I didn't prep you for. Do you find that having an event like this or having a community like the Canadian Podcast Awards exist brings in people from different areas, or do you find that it's more of an enclosed community?
It definitely brings in people from all different corners of the community because like podcasts encompass so many different types of topics or styles, anything like that. And everybody has a unique story to tell and a unique perspective that it's coming from. So you can meet people from all different walks of life with ideas that you may never have thought of before.
Now, Jennifer, I know that from a person that's just learning about the Canadian Podcast Awards now, it is a very positive thing that brings in inclusive podcasts, diverse podcasts, people from all over. I mean, just looking at the website itself, the list of podcasts that are involved have been mentioned, have won awards, and are even here today at the Toronto Comic Con. I can't thank you enough for your time. Good luck with the rest of the day, and good luck with the Canadian Podcast Awards.
Thank you so much.
So if you're interested, of course, in the Canadian Podcast Awards or the Canada Podcast Awards, what did I write? Canadian Podcast Awards, whatever came up at the bottom of the screen. Make sure to go check them out and get some more information about them. Of course, there is lots more coming up on this episode of By the Wayside. Don't go anywhere. And now we fade to black. If you have been watching this episode, you know for a fact that I spent some time at the Toronto Comic Con at the Metro Toronto Convention Center in Toronto, Ontario. I wonder how many times I can say Toronto, over the course of that whole spiel. Yes, that's right. There is something very fun happening behind me, and we will get to that. The Toronto Comic Con is a mecca of pop culture. It's for every single person. I know I touched on this at the beginning of the episode, but it's really important how this segment plays out. Because whether it's comic books, tabletop, gaming, artistic prints, crocheted goblins, even celebrity autographs, there is something for everybody. And I mean everybody. If you're looking for an exciting way to experience pop culture, find your community, or just see what's out there, like what is now, then the Toronto Comic Con is definitely for you. Now, this was not a prop microphone. I did this on purpose. Now, you ready for this? At every convention, there are rules that one might want to follow when they're there. I was at a convention for 3 days, and I think it's important that I bring up some of the things that I feel is the most important. If you go to the Toronto Comic Con website, they actually have sort of like things you can do to improve your visit or your stay, which I think is very important to let the general public know. I have my own little thing, and it is one of my biggest pet peeves, and it has been my pet peeve since high school. I went to a high school filled with, I want to say 1,400 kids, so you can imagine what that was like. So, of course, we could go over the rules or the etiquette of what, make sure you take a change of clothes, make sure your hygiene is good, like those sorts of things, but not today. Today we're going to be talking about walking. That's right, walking. Now, I absolutely hate slow walkers. And when you are at a con at the size of the Toronto Comic Con, or any con in general, there's a lot of people moving through alleys, aisles, outside of the bathroom, heck, sometimes even inside the bathroom. It's just like it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Slow walkers. We all need to get somewhere. That is the most important thing about cons. So, when we are walking through the alleys, we do not stop. We do not stop, ladies and gentlemen. I am an advocate for not stopping when you are at a con for any reason. We don't stop. So if you are fixing your cosplay, like the dress or costume, the costume play that you are wearing, there's an issue. Don't stop in the middle of the alleyway. Don't stop in the middle of the aisles. I spelled cosplay wrong. Move to the side. So we're going to put that right here. Move to the side. That's sideways for me. I'm sorry. I know this is not good for video. Don't text and walk. If you're walking through the alleyways and aisles trying to get to your destination, and your cousin over on the other side of the con is texting you saying like, "Oh, I'm over here." Don't stop in the middle of the aisleway. I want you to step aside and stop. Don't ruin the flow of traffic. Like I said, move to the side. Don't text and walk. How about another one? Fixing your cosplay. Don't text and walk. You know what? Treat it like a road. Right side, left side, you're going this way, you're going this way. So when you're at a con, maybe treat the alleyways like a road. Up this way, down this way, right and left. Or my rule of thumb, move to the side. I can't believe that I have to keep saying that. Hey, if you're on a highway, this is a great example. If you're on a highway and you got a flat tire, you don't stop in the middle of the highway. What do? Move to the side. So that's my biggest pet peeve, and it has always been my pet peeve when it comes to slow walkers. But when you're walking slow, I'm trying to go with you. I'm moving with the flow of traffic. So if there's ever an issue in which you need to stop, move to the side. Move to the side, folks. Let's get t-shirts made, move to the side.
I don't know why I have to say that. Look around. You don't want to knock anyone over. You don't want to stop the flow of traffic. That's when things get crazy. That's when things get hairy. Con Etiquette, brought to you by me, Jordan Middlebrook. Stick around. We got lots more in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. I don't think I said not the right word. Oh my goodness. Don't go anywhere. Side.
Oh, I know that there's no possible way we can't do an episode of By the Wayside without a recommends from everyone's favorite recommender. I think that's a word. Omar. It's the Omar Recommends segment. Omar, you're around somewhere. Do you have anything that you'd like to recommend?
I may.
He may. December has a comic that he'd like to recommend. And everyone, ladies and gentlemen, insert clap noise. Omar Sayer, owner, purveyor of Wayside Comics and Cocktails, here with another Omar Recommends. Omar, what do you have for us today?
All right. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing excellent, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Great. Glad to hear it.
So I'm going to jump right into this.
Good, let's do it.
Because you're delaying it a lot.
It's all witty banter, my friend.
All right. So today what I have for you guys is Spider-Man Life Story by a previous guest on the show, Chip Zdarsky, and Mark Bagley doing the art on this great book. So a little context to this. I am a diehard Spider-Man fan. I have him tattooed on my arm. But in the last 10, 15 years, there haven't been too many great Spider-Man stories. Like, it's almost like the characters become more of a mascot than a fundamental factor in the Marvel universe these days. They got all their characters doing all kinds of things. I read a lot of stories, and I want to love everything, but I don't love everything. And that's part of being a fan. Like, sometimes things are going to connect, sometimes things aren't. And of all the Spider-Man stories I've read in the last, like I said, 10, 15 years, Spider-Man Life Story is the one that's connected with me the most of modern Spider-Man runs. It is probably the most recommended Spider-Man book that I put in people's hands. What this book is about is, imagine if Spider-Man actually ages in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of a character that, kind of stays forever young and is doing his thing because time in comics is, relative to whatever they want to do, you get to see Spider-Man in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, 90s, and you actually see him age and change and how all this would affect him. But more than anything, a book like this is great because it reminds you why endings are important. So the biggest thing against characters that have existed for so long is that their stories never really have an end. And endings make the journey worthwhile. They're the reason why you have the journey. So while we're consistently on this journey, we never get that satisfying ending to that journey. And that's what makes books like Invincible from Image Comics so good and so well loved. And right now there's a huge Invincible because of the show, but it's what makes a book like that really stand out, because you get to see a character's journey from getting their superpowers, becoming a young hero, maturing, going through those things that fundamentally change them as a person.
It's almost relatable.
Getting married. It's very relatable because, Spider-Man was written as an everyman, and at some point he stops aging with us.
Yeah.
Because his core values have changed a little bit in terms of how they present the character.
Yeah.
Which is why something like Ultimate Spider-Man is so great. Everything that happens. So what Chip's done is he's taken all these big events in Spider-Man's life, and again, you get to see him when he's 15, when he's 20, when he's 25, when he's 40, when he's 50, till he's an old man. And you see how all these big events, like the death of Gwen Stacy, the Clone Saga, the symbiote, like all these big things, how it would affect him very long term if that was that moment in real time.
Interesting, yeah.
And the PTSD that you'd get from that, the relationships that you build that are permanent in your life, like the true love in your life that you find as you develop as a person, how he fits into the superhero community, how he's built from Civil War and his decisions that he made. And it's cool because Bagley's a fundamental Spider-Man artist. Yep. And if I think of Spider-Man, I think of Mark Bagley. He's the one I grew up with.
I agree.
In comics, and I love the way he draws Spider-Man. But every year he also changes the costume a little bit. And all the changes in the costume sort of relate to things that have happened in the previous decade. And you get to see him mature, not just through the words and the stories, but also through the artwork. And it's really cool to see something like that, because again, you can't change the iconic Spider-Man suit.
He doesn't change. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
He doesn't change because of commercial reasons, like outside commercial choices, like a publisher might make. But in this, he becomes the relatable human being where he changes based on his own consciousness and choices that have happened. That's interesting.
100%. And it's cool because like you get to see Miles, and you get to see the rise of Miles Morales, and how Peter sees Miles, and how he sees him as like the great hope for like carrying on the legacy of Spider-Man, because he sees that being Spider-Man does bring people a lot of hope, and you need that in the world. And he's always been that person who's been able to transcend that in superheroes. He's always been kind of the shining heart of the Marvel universe. If you take the core Spider-Man, you look at his history, like that's what he's always been. He's always been the shining heart of Marvel Comics. And yeah, it's just a really cool journey to see him grow up, change, go through all these things, little twists and turns, so it's not exactly how you remember reading it, that really make you go, wow, that like it really affects the way you think about that event, and you're just like, oh my god, that really would have done this, or the fallout of that's it changes your perception about the major Spider. I don't want to get in too much into it because I also want you to enjoy the journey, but things like the Clone Saga and how that affects him is really fascinating. And then there's also there's the bonus issue where you get to see everything from J. Jonah Jameson's perspective and how he's changed, because he's in prison by the end of the book.
Oh, interesting.
For trying to,
spoiler alert.
But it's there's a whole issue dedicated.
Okay.
Again, just seeing all these different perspectives and like being able to take yourself out of the situation and just look at it for what it is. Like these characters have lived in their story, and when you take those stories and re-examine them with a new set of eyes, and you're looking at them almost from that top-down angle, you get to pick and choose and see how everything would have changed. Almost like you're playing a different kind of chess, and it's really neat to see, even like from the perspective of a character like J. Jonah Jameson, how that would have changed him, and how he sees Spider-Man as, he starts from his place of hate because he hates mass vigilantes to the very end. And again, I don't want to spoil anything because Chip's writing here is amazing, and he really writes a fantastic, spectacular, amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, it's a wonderful book, and like I said, I recommend this to anybody, especially people who want to start reading Spider-Man, because like I said, he takes those key moments and really brings new life to them, and it's fantastic.
Well, Omar, I know that the book has existed, and I've never taken the opportunity to read this, but based on how you've described the book and what happens, this seems like something I'm going to add to my list, and I really appreciate your recommends when you come on the show.
It's great. I found this book on a whim. Like I normally don't pick up too many, side stories, because there's so many sub-series and everything that you can grab. And I picked this one because I love the covers. Chip's done a great job designing these covers as well. They're very editorial, very, very sleek. They're very eye-catching, even the cover itself right there. And he really takes like that time period and like throws it on the cover. So the 80s feel like an 80s cover. The 60s feel like a 60s cover. And that really drew my eye, and I picked it up, and I loved it from issue one. Awesome. And I had to finish the series. I still have all the issues. But yeah, phenomenal stuff. And if you're looking for a good Spider-Man story, if you're a reader of Spider-Man who's been frustrated for the last bit, or you don't know where to start, Spider-Man Life Story by the amazing Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley. I've read and connected to his art, and he's been a part of my comics journey. I love that man's art. It's phenomenal. Spider-Man Life Story. Check it out.
Omar, thank you again for coming in and recommending another amazing comics. That's why this segment is called Omar Recommends. Yeah.
And well, I guess that was a cue that I didn't pick up on, but we will catch you guys by the wayside.
It happens. It's television, folks. Don't go anywhere. We still got lots more in this episode. Oh, and that's it for this episode of By the Wayside. I got to make sure my mic's just a little bit closer so that you could hear the soothing sounds of my voice. I want to thank everyone that let me interview them at the Toronto Comic Con just recently. That was really awesome of them. Make sure if their name comes up or if their social media comes up, go and support them. It's important that community supports community, and people just get support where they need support. Everyone needs support. It doesn't matter. All the artists and vendors who let me take a video of their booth and get some footage for all that really fun stuff you saw in this episode, thank you again. All the same rules apply for what I said earlier. I have to especially thank Mike Schwartz for the amazing comic book that I absolutely love. That's it. If you want to know more, you're going to have to do a little bit of internet searching for that one. This is the fun part. Don't forget to check out our socials here at By the Wayside. You can find I was going to say follow and find at the same time. You can find the show anywhere on what you see on the screen. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the website. If you're looking to be a guest, of course, you can send me an email at waysideshow@gmail.com, or send a distinguished message, and let's get you on the show. Let's talk about all the really fun things that you have going on, because the mission statement of this show, By the Wayside, is to introduce the viewer, you, to creative people. Of course, I am your host, Jordan Middlebrook, and I will catch you by the wayside.